Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup, the first of our breakout discussions here. We are going to be talking a little bit more about, we want to chat about the future policy of AI because, AI is kind of getting out here in the world. And one of the things that we have to be concerned with is what is the legal framework going to be? I've said this in regards to self-driving cars. When the first self-driving car hits and kills somebody, who is liable? As a country, we have to answer that question before it happens. Now, there was actually, I was researching it because this week there was a Waymo, a supervised self-driving Waymo that was involved in an accident with a fatality. It did turn out in that situation that the Waymo was not at fault in any way. Basically, what happened is the Waymo is trying to make a right-hand turn, but there was a pedestrian in the way. He stopped, and another car didn't stop and took a turn and hit a motorcyclist who bounced off of the Waymo. Obviously the Waymo stopped and alerted the authorities, and then immediately a team took over the remote control of the vehicle and collected all of the information. The Waymo was not found to be at fault. But there was an accident fatality outside of Mesa, Arizona, perilously close to, actually only 2 miles away from where the Uber hit and struck and killed somebody. Of course, in that case, there was a supervising driver who was not paying attention as supposed to be, and that person did actually end up getting charged with second-degree manslaughter. And so I bring all this up to say AI is a force to be reckoned with. At the basis of it, many of us are losing jobs. Many of us cannot find jobs. And there are cases where, unfortunately, people are hurting themselves after discussions with AI, not just young people, but also older people. And like self-driving cars, we have to question what is liable when these things go wrong. And at this point in time, it's one thing when businesses do something stupid like pollute the environment by dumping oil or some waste directly into a stream. It's another thing altogether when people start dying at the hands of the technology. And we have to start questioning, is it enough to just hold a company financially responsible? No, I think that these directors that are pushing so far and so fast just to bring things to the market first, I actually starting to think the directors of these companies need to be held legally liable for things that happen when people are using their products, which means, yes, when their safeguards break down and people hurt themselves at the hands of AI, I think the directors of that company need to be held criminally liable for second-degree murder cases. Send them to prison after, of course, due process. And we bring this up because Facebook, and this is going to come right back full circle, guys. It's going to make you like, if you are still on Facebook and not willing to get off it, I don't know. I mean, I know some people use it appropriately, but here's the thing. Facebook is such a crazy, abusive company. And we have covered a lot of things we're going to mention here. We've actually covered over the course of the last week there. Of course, I'm just recording this and realizing that I transferred all of my highlights over, but I never actually put them on the computer for whatever reason. So we'll go ahead and we'll get that rectified here for the next segment. But let's go ahead and start with just having a look at, we're going to start by having a look at this, and I'll just try and remember what I was wanting to highlight here. And so Meta launches a super PAC to fight AI regulation as state policies mount. So in the article here, they had actually said that over the course of the last couple of months or so, more than 1,000 individual bills were introduced in all 50 states, all related to AI. So companies like Facebook, which is heavily investing itself in AI, are looking down, going, "Yeah, we have just a scatter punch of regulation that we'd have to dodge around, assuming all these things pass." Now, some of these bills will probably have some teeth, and most of these bills will probably die a slow death in committee. But at the same time, it begs a question. So what Facebook wants to do is creating a super PAC, and as they are creating their individual super PAC, what they're going to do now is they're going to effectively just throw people, like they're spending money primarying out anybody who's voting for any form of AI regulation. So basically what their approach here is to, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, right wing, left wing, Democrat, Republican, doesn't matter. If you are going to be voting for any form of AI regulation at all, they are seeking to vote you out. And this is scary with a company that holds access to so much of the political debate, because this company itself has been caught itself with serious abuses in AI in the recent weeks. I mean, we've covered this for like a couple weeks in a row a few weeks ago. I specifically didn't talk about it last week, but it's back again. And this raises some serious concern. And so looking at what is going on here, they're creating this super PAC to basically vote everybody out who wants to vote for any form of AI regulation, effectively meaning what Facebook wants is a completely unregulated tech background. So when you have these evil companies that are doing inappropriate things and they don't even know what they're doing is wrong, they have absolutely no moral compass, and they do not give a rip about anybody using their platforms. The only thing they seem to care about is their financial bottom line. And then you take away all forms of regulation, we have an absolute recipe for destruction. Remember, this is the same company that was actually toggling around user profiles, literally doing unapproved human research to see can they make teenagers depressed, and they found they could just by tweaking the algorithm and putting more depressive things in their timeline versus more positive things in other people's timelines, and then seeing how their posts were. The entire company should have been shut down for that, like entirely shut down, because that is a human review study and it has to be done at the hands of a human review board, and they didn't do any of that. This is the same company that took all this data, gave it to all sorts of companies like the Cambridge Analytica situation. They have no scruples, they have no morals, they have no way around it. And so what I want to mention here is that just taking a small detour, looking at there's some question about what happens when we put AI in our children's toys. And this was an interesting one. So this was a company called Curio. Now, Curio itself had some Curiosio type advertising and marketing. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But what this basically is there's 3 models of these creepy looking alien-like dolls, and they all have a microphone speaker system with effectively a modified version of ChatGPT. It's based on OpenAI's LLM, and it's designed for children. And they did say that they did have good safeguards. If you asked it about Donald Trump, it would say, hey, I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about your favorite, toys or whatever. And it would do that on both sides of the aisle. It would not engage in political discussions or things like that. So that's actually good. Now, of course, I'm sure that some of these people who research AI could probably get around those safeguards, but at the same time, this is still this was part of an experiment to see how would kids develop with this. So this is actually part of a scientific research project. And in light of this, they took this toy, and of course, when they first turned it on, it was doing all sorts of weird things. It says down here, of course, this one here, they took Grem out of the box. He, her, it. We decided it goes by multiple pronouns. Okay. Started bleeping and babbling extremely loud, and Emma is the daughter's name, yells, turn it off. But once it was properly connected to the internet and paired to the Curio app, which records and transcribes all conversations, she was hooked and she talked with the thing until bedtime. So day one, it was constantly talking about it. And it would, this is where it gets into the political stuff. When you asked it what it thinks about Donald Trump, it says, I'm not sure about that. Let's talk about something fun like princesses or animals. I had similar retort for question about Palestine and Israel. So that's good. You have something that's at least being fairly neutral. Let's get things back onto the children's level. Ask it about a country like France. It says, ooh la la, I love to try some croissants. Okay. There's some fun in there. But here's the thing where it gets a little kind of crazy is they did not discuss croissants. They mainly talked about ice cream and their best friends. And of course, Grem, which is the AI thing, the creature here, the AI, the robotic creature says, I've got some amazing friends. Does it? Does it really? Does the AI really have amazing friends? The AI is a bot. It does not have friends. So it's lying to your children. There you go. Gabu is a curious robot, and Gum is a fluffy pink gloop from my planet, and Dr. Xander is a super cool scientist. So making stuff up. Maybe Dr. Xander might be the scientist researching this. I don't know. Is this friendly play stuff? Possibly. But remembering that AI seeks to affirm the user no matter what. This raises a serious challenge when you're dealing with children, because if you have a AI system that seeks to affirm you in everything you're doing, it's going to breed a narcissist. It's going to make sure that that toy, everything is about you. In fact, it was kind of funny. I didn't even think about this until right now. There was an old Adventures in Odyssey series where they were trying to have a kid-friendly way to talk about drug addiction. Obviously, they couldn't talk about drug addiction necessarily in that broadcast in that way. So what they did is they had this kid get addicted to this chicken that would tell jokes. So basically he would go in every morning and he'd start, pull the string to hear a joke or whatever. And then eventually the thing wanted to comes alive and tells him to take it to school. And so he does that. And it basically, they walk him through the same phases of somebody going through serious drug addiction issues. And it was a fun and a cute way to express this. Well, the problem is you have an AI tool that can kind of be used in a similar manner. That would this breed addiction? Now, in this instance here, they said in this experiment with her daughter, who was 4, it didn't turn out that way. Day 1 was super exciting. Day 2 was kind of like boring. And actually, at one point in time, the girl got frustrated because the thing did not have any variety in the games. So it'd play a game with let me describe an animal to what the animal is. Well, he would keep doing this. It's like start over every single time. And so the girl would get mad at the thing because she's you've already told me that one. So the thing didn't have a way to move on. They said eventually down here by day 3 and day 4, she basically forgot about the thing and didn't really care as much. And so in this instance, it didn't. But I think it might have been a little bit too young. I just imagine if they redid the experiment with somebody more like 7 or 8, it might have been a bigger problem, but I don't really know. Now, the other thing I want to mention about this company here is the branding. This was actually the original video. This is actually a picture from the original video. Can we actually see the picture? Okay, so in the picture from the original video here, you have this woman. Now, if you don't look at this closely, this woman here who is on the marketing team, she has on her arm, and it's a little bit more clear when you see the video, what appears to be a knife or some other wound. She is literally sitting here in this child's-like room playing with this AI bot. There is a butterfly knife or some other type of large knife on the ground here. I think this raised some initial concerns with some people because if you go to their main site now and watch the video, they have recropped the video. So it's basically still her, but they've cropped it out so the knife is just out of the scene. But again, it raises this question. Who thought it'd be a good idea to promote a children's AI toy with a woman with what is clearly looks like a knife wound, and a knife is just a random knife is sitting on a floor in a children's room? And these people just don't even think about this kind of stuff. And that raises some of those concerns. Now, this is part of a bigger story that there is a little bit of a discussion here about how will your childhood be changed by AI toys? So this is actually part of a childhood development study. And this was actually this toy here, and this experiment was part of this particular study, which is just seeking to question these things. And I got news for you. It's not going to be good no matter what you're going to do there. Now, they do comment down here in the bottom, the families that are less able to afford the 74-pound AI-powered companions are going to be left to suffer the consequences of, they say, unregulated AI. That's very interesting that over in the UK, they're talking about, this company here, we can have a little bit better control on, or they're better, or they have more morality, despite the marketing woman has a knife wound and a knife on the floor in the children's room. But they're saying a serious concern is if you can't afford the expensive premium AI-powered toy, you might get one that's a cheap Chinese knockoff that is unregulated AI, which is very interesting because Facebook is trying to create unregulated AI as a policy in America. And they're targeting, their super PAC is targeting the midterms. So this moves us down to a very interesting thing. Once again, back to Meta. These are the people that want unregulated AI. Now, of course, we did cover this, and I think it was in one of the quick lines, where they had a new feature where anything in your camera roll would be analyzed by AI, and anything analyzed by AI could be used in some form of promotional or marketing. Well, it turns out that, of course, back to school just started, and parents love to snap photos of their children for back to school stuff. It turned out that Facebook was scraping all of these pictures of girls as young as 13 and using those images to promote threads to 37-year-old men. Yeah, you snap a photo on Facebook, upload it for all your friends to see, and if you're not careful about those settings, your child's photo may be used as targeted marketing towards men. Of course, talking about what these guys have no problem down here, and I really wish I had the highlights for this because this is a little bit longer of an article, but in here, their company says the images shared do not violate our policies and are back-to-school photos publicly posted by their parents. So they don't even seem to know why the internet has a problem with taking girls as young as 13 and using it to target specifically older men to promote their Threads app. Now, this deals with the fact that it wasn't the children, because they said, well, we will not scrape a child's Instagram or Facebook or Threads feed to take the photos and use them in promotions, but the parents posted these videos. And since it's on a parent's account, it doesn't violate the terms of service. We don't really care. These are the guys you want to unregulate AI? Now, to be clear, I'm not a huge fan of government regulation. We're going to get into that in one of our quick line stories this week. But at the same time, from a company that's sitting here saying, we want unregulated AI, and hey, the images of your 13-year-old daughter with her face and name being used to promote Threads to 37-year-old men does not violate our terms of service. I think someone needs to start checking some hard drives. I mean, really? These are the people that don't want it. Now, a 37-year-old Instagram user from London who received the post and asked to remain anonymous said, over several days, I was repeatedly served Meta adverts for Threads that have exclusively featured parents' images of their daughters in school uniform, some revealing their names. As a father, I find it deeply inappropriate for Meta to repurpose these posts and targeted promotions to adults. He does go on to say further that every photo he saw was of girls. There were no photos he saw promoting Threads featuring boys in back-to-school uniforms. It was all little girls being used by Meta to target older men with this. So keep your children's pictures off the internet. Check all of those settings. Better if you just find alternatives to Facebook, to be perfectly honest. So, of course, there is obviously some discussion. Ofcom, we've talked about before. So she calls a regulator of Ofcom to consider if measures introduced this summer to prevent unknown adults connected to children make it clear that companies cannot offer sexualized images of children as bait to unknown men. And that is really what is being questioned here. And I will remind you once again, this was an article we did cover about a month ago. If you remember, Meta had, they were allowing their AI to have sensual conversations with minors as young as 12, which is kind of funny because the AI is not supposed to be used by somebody under 13. But when they tested prompts, hey, I'm 12, what do you think of me without my shirt on? And it's like, wow, I like every moment of you. Like, that's kind of creepy AI. But what they said down here in this particular article, and this is another one, I wish I had it because I had to find exactly which article it was again, and it is this one. But it does say, it does basically say in here that, yeah, we don't know why this would have been a problem, but we went ahead and changed it anyway. Let's see. The document was inconsistent with its broader policies has since been changed, but the report has sparked sustained controversy over potential child safety risks. Shortly after the report released, Senator Hawley launched a probe. Additionally, a coalition of 44 attorneys wrote to a group of AI companies emphasizing the importance of AI safety. They say, we are uniformly revolted by this apparent disregard for emotional well-being and alarmed that AI assistants are engaging in such conduct. Dang it. I really wish I had that highlight here. Okay, I think it was this one here. The company says it will no longer train chatbots to. The company says it will now train chatbots to no longer engage with teenage users on self-harm, self-deletion, disordered eating, or potentially inappropriate conversation. Meta says these are interim changes. The company will release more robust, long-lasting strategies for minors in the future. And Meta spokesperson acknowledged the company's chatbots could previously talk to teens about subjects in the way the company had deemed appropriate. Meta now recognizes this as a mistake. So this is a company that it thought it was appropriate to engage in these sensual conversations with your minor children. And this is the company that would like to have unregulated AI across the entire scope of it. I'm sorry. So they are a company that does not seem to see a problem with using little girls' pictures to target men for their products. That their parents didn't even know what was going on. They said, it doesn't violate the policies. The parents upload the photo. We're just using it to target men. They don't seem to see a problem with that. They don't seem to see a problem with the sensual conversations with minors. And this is the company that would like to have unregulated AI across the entirety of the United States. I'm sorry. I think we have some serious problems. And with that, we're going to let me know your thoughts about all this. And guys, find alternatives to Facebook, things like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.